Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Coaches Roundtable. I'm joined by Tash. Hello.
Hi, Adam.
Hello there. You all right?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not bad. Not bad. Looking forward to this one. Get to talk
Yeah.
about some more big boys and girls. It's gonna be good.
This is your kind of thing. This is like you all over.
Nah, I'm a quarterback me now.
Oh yeah, sorry. After last week, yeah, you're
Yeah,
the
quarterback
number
me.
one in the country out of everybody.
Yeah, fattest quarterback ever playing BRITBALLIN. Thank you very much.
We got
But
you as the quarterback, Mike as the receiver.
Mike's not a receiver. He's not
I'll
here.
just be there
Nah.
somewhere.
Have you seen the picture of him playing receiver on Twitter?
He
It
nearly
was
caught it, didn't he?
cooled. Closest thing he was getting. But today, what we're going to do is we're going to bring some guys in from the national team, sit and talk about a bit of O-line. If you've got any questions and you want to put it to them, feel free to drop them in the comments and we'll get through as many as possible. Everyone happy with that? Tash, who should we bring in first?
I think just because he has just commented in our chat, I think we should bring in Spoonie.
Let's get Spoonie in here. Spoonie, welcome to the stream.
Evening, team. How are we?
I'm good, man. How's things?
Yeah, really good. Is there a big delay from me to you? Is it all the way from Scotland?
It is,
Yeah,
mate. There's a massive delay, but people understand, like, it's got to get over a wall and some
different
hills and things.
countries, yeah, like go through some streams and some rivers. It's fine.
Brutal. Absolutely.
So, Spoonie, quick little elevator pitch on who you are, where you're coaching at, what's your job at the national team level.
Of course, my real name is Matthew Davies. I have been in the sport since 2005. Spent most of my years playing and coaching at the East Kilbride Pirates. I was the O-line coach for the senior team for 3 years after I retired. I spent a couple of years coaching it, or 3 years coaching at Napier as well, mostly O-line and OC there. And then I moved on to become the head coach of the Pirates junior team. Did that for 4 years and then stepped down from that. Was taking a break from the sport, and then Jason Scott gave me a holler and said, I'm putting together my staff for GB seniors. Would you be interested in being my special teams coordinator and tight ends coach and assistant head coach? And I said, yes, that would be a great pleasure to me. Here we are.
I love how enthusiastic
I've been in this job now for, I think it's been 2 years now almost. I've been doing this, and we haven't had a single practice. It's been, it's been pretty laid back.
I was about to say you've pretty much been a coach of a lockdown team, basically.
You could also say you've been
Absolutely
part of the GB setup and you're undefeated for 2 years.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Great record to have.
I have never lost that. I've never lost a game for GB in my current role, but I did coach. I was actually in the GB staff from 2000 and when would that have been? Was it 2010 till 2013? I think I was on the staff with Mike Callan as a kind of assistant running backs coach. So I've been involved with the GB setup for a while. But yeah, it's good. It's a pleasure. It's a privilege to be asked to be involved, and hopefully we'll just actually get to have some practices and some games at some stage in the future.
Perfect, man. Next up that we're going to bring in Paul Sherritt. Paul, welcome to the stream.
Hi, yeah. How are we doing?
I'm good, man. Thanks for joining us. Can you give us a little elevator pitch on yourself, where you're coaching at, national team role and things?
Sure. Yeah. So I've been involved in football since about 1987. So a long time as a player. Then got into coaching, primarily, I guess, Loughborough University. But I also coached briefly Staffordshire Surge. National programme wise, I coached some defence for GB under 19 100 years ago, and then been involved in student football and adult football. Currently, offensive coordinator for GB students, and then I'm also the O-line coach for the new Army programme. And I've just recently left Loughborough, so I'm not doing any student football next year at the moment.
So you said you've been around football since like the 80s. That's unbelievable. I mean, it's longer than I've being alive, mate. It was my
Yeah.
30th,
Thanks for that.
30th yesterday, mate. But thanks for joining me anyways, mate.
Yeah.
I got down
At least,
28. I was thinking I'm
at least
not.
I've still got all my hair.
It's there. It's there. I shave it. That's what happens. Thanks for joining anyways, mate. Next up, we've got Coach Coops.
Hiya.
Yeah, man. Thanks for joining us.
No problem.
Little elevator pitch on yourself, please, Coach.
Yeah, I too am old, although not quite as old as Cowboy. I started playing in 1992. Played for a bunch of uni and senior teams, and started coaching in 1999, I think. Actually, on the defensive side of the ball, and then really from 2000, been coaching offense for most of the time at Birmingham University Lions. And I retired from that at the end of the last real season we had, whatever that was, 2015 was it? And now I'm coaching at the Lions Academy Youth and Junior and Flag, and I'm currently GB Students O-line coach, and I've previously been GB Adult Men's offensive coordinator and offensive line coach, and before that running back coach.
You've been around there, mate, haven't you?
Yeah.
Done a bit of everything. I like it.
I feel like there's a trend here because we've got two coaches now who have been ex-running back coaches. So I feel like there's a trend between the O-line and running backs right now.
Not just that, we had some defensive
The
guys
guys
there as
on
well. That's
offense
just
who actually do some work.
We're gonna get so much hate when Spoonie's on. You know, it happens every time. He offends someone from running backs or something, and then he come on to give us stick. Oh, next up, we've got Nelly. Nelly,
Okay.
welcome to the stream.
Thanks for having us.
Nelly, lockdowns hit you hard with that haircut, mate, doesn't it?
It's so warm. So warm.
We're allowed to get haircuts now, Nelly. Get it sorted.
Nellie's hair looks like a warm-up whip.
There's a whole story behind it, man. A whole story.
Oh, I love it.
I used to get my hair cut at this barber next to my work, and I've changed jobs, and now it's like an hour out of my way to go to that same barber, and I just haven't quite got around to burning the fuel to go and do it. I'm very picky about who touches my hair.
He's
I
loyal.
didn't realise there's more than one barber. Like, I know
No,
that.
Tash, you don't get it. You don't get it, Tash.
Well, no, I do,
don't
because
get
I'm the same with, I mean, my hair, there's only one person that can touch my hair, and that's my singular hairdresser that I go to, so I get it. I do get it.
Tash, honestly, my son lives in Torquay. I live in Newcastle, and he only gets his hair cut when he comes here. So, do you know what I mean? That's a 400-mile trip just to get his hair cut. Didn't even want to see me.
But, you know.
No, but Nelly, elevator pitch. I know you've been on here before, but let people know what your role is, where you've coached at.
Yeah, so I started same year as Spinny at Glasgow Uni, and then we moved to the Pirates together. It's part of the best draft class that's ever had, East Kilbride Pirates, the 06 class. And then, so moved down to England and started coaching with the Blue Raiders then, as O-line coach under Anthony Fitzpatrick, who was OC then. Worked with Ouse Valley as the OC for a few fairly unsuccessful years. Was assistant at the adult team, assistant O-line coach at the adult team for the Group B championships in somewhere in England. I can't remember where it was. And then was offensive line coach and then offensive coordinator for the previous under-19s regime, and I'm now head coach for this under-19s regime, and I'm in pretty much the same boat as Spinny. I'm undefeated for 2 years now.
Love it. Love it.
We've had 3 practices though.
Oh, well, there we go. That's all that matters, isn't it? Undefeated with 3 practices. Spoonie's beating you there, mate. How long ago was it that you left East Kilbride? Because I know you listed a load of teams there, but we only see one poster behind you, mate.
I know, 2012.
Oh. So if you're part of any other team that Nelly's been coaching at, doesn't like you, got a poster of his old team on there, right? I'm sorry, Nelly. I had to do that. Sorry, man. But back on topic now for the O-line. We've got a few places that we've been thinking of starting, but I'll let Tash, you can pick the first topic.
I'm going to leave the one that I really want to ask till later, just because there's a story behind why I want to ask it. But me and Adam will go into that later. Firstly, we'll start off just with some, I guess, like the fundamentals behind being part of an O-line. So when you're looking for an O-line somebody to play on your O-line, what are the different first steps that you're looking for from that player? Anyone can jump in.
You mean what kind of athlete are we looking for on the O-line?
Yeah, I mean, you can answer it as what type of athlete, what's the different first steps that you're expecting them to take. So take it down the route of athlete first, and then we'll go more on the line of...
Most of the teams I'm on, the athlete I get is the ones that are left after all the other coaches have picked. But outside of that, I guess, you want them as kind of big and strong as you can get, right? And yeah, I don't know. Who else has a great selection technique for O-line? Yeah, go.
So I'd go back one step from here, right? Instead of thinking about who do you want for the O-line, the thing I'd be thinking about is who do you want coaching your O-line, right? And I think the most important thing if you coach O-line is you need to be somebody that is good at building teams, because you're going to take a group of guys who have come into a sport where they've seen people racking up stats and catches and touchdowns and glory, and you're going to take them away from all of that and give them a series of jobs which are fundamental to the success of your team and your program, but which have none of those things attached. So you need someone that is very good at building teams, at helping people understand their purpose, at making them a really tight-knit unit, at building something that's bigger than the individuals themselves. And once you do that, I think then you can start thinking about who your players are going to be. And for me, and again, you got that kind of like big and strong type, basically I just want dudes that look like they played on the 94-95 Nebraska Cornhuskers. That's what I'm after. Given that there are none of those people in the world, I'll just take whoever's left over. And I'm a big fan of guys who are mobile. You have to be physical. You have to want to get your hands dirty. You have to want to, put your mark on a game. But I want guys that are mobile. That's my biggest thing for offensive linemen. Is too often we end up with we'll just take the big dudes, and the big dudes are often big for a reason, and it's not a good one. And I know because I was that guy. So I want people that can move, that are willing to get their hands dirty, that will willing to be physical. And you can, at the level that most of us will be coaching at now, we're not talking about GB here, I'm talking domestically, but all of us will have had successful offensive linemen in the past who didn't fit the prototype, who wouldn't have been on that. Like, Nelly, you'll remember Stevie McCusker used to have that sheet of measurables that each position in the NFL Europe used to have, and it was like, well, we've not got any of these guys, so we'll just take him over there, because he doesn't look like he's doing anything else. So, I think it's taking those guys and helping them understand the purpose, and then coaching around their limitations to make them successful.
I think that's actually a really great answer, in all honesty, to all of it, because me and Adam have actually talked about the O-line before, because I highlighted to him that as much as we were ranking QBs, personally, I feel like the O-line is actually the most important players, whoever's on that O-line, on the field. Your QB can't throw and can't hand that ball off without having a good O-line. So what you've just said there about the fact that you might be looking for something, but actually it's the person that's coaching and what they're coaching that player to actually realize about themselves to get them to that potential is actually really important.
Yeah. I mean, I think I think you just got to look.
I forgot Spoonie had his whiteboard. The last time we done this was Spoonie. Jeez.
I was going to say, I think you just got to look at the Super Bowl for evidence of that, haven't you? You can have the best quarterback in the league, allegedly, and if he's got to run around for his life, he's not going to be successful consistently. I think just to kind of chip in a little bit on the last conversation, I think in BRITBALL, it's attitude more than anything. If someone doesn't want to play O-line, they're not going to do it. You want kids who are going to you want young people who are going to work hard, who are going to take some pride in what they're doing, and are happy, perhaps not getting the limelight, but putting in the graft, I think.
So I know you're saying don't get the limelight. How does an offensive lineman get the limelight?
That highlight reels, or give out an award. We just used to give out like Jif Lemon if they got a pancake or whoever got the most. You give them like a little Jif Lemon, and it's like, you know, I don't know what it is.
Aha,
50p.
No, we're getting on to the pancakes later. We're getting on to
I was waiting for you to go, Tash.
Oh, I was going to say, it's, you know, I'm
getting
trying to link you in then. But, you know, I just think just got to pick something that you see them doing great and just, you know, praise and emphasize it and do all that, because no one else is going to do it. And, you know, after a while they start doing it to, you know, so I was already see, you know, Johnny's block on this, you know, that sweep when he cut the guy out of his shoes or whatever. And once you get that going, you've got a pretty good O-line room, I think.
I think there's two elements to it. Like, there's people who are like extrinsically motivated and intrinsically motivated, and you tend not to get a lot of O-linemen who are extrinsically motivated. They tend to do things that are, you know, benefit the team, or within their own little group they can see that that's what they've done well. They don't do it for rewards and for all that kind of stuff. Their reward is the running back getting the yards, or the touchdown, or the quarterback coming off the field clean, that kind of stuff.
I'm well impressed. You've been looking at those words of the day, Nelly. Word of the day goes to Nelly.
When you coach young people as well, one thing I would say for any coach out there working with youth and junior teams in particular is it's very important that you encourage those glory boys, particularly your running backs, your quarterbacks, to be praising the same things that you're praising with your offensive line, because ultimately their success or lack thereof will be heavily influenced by those offensive linemen. So they need to know, you know, what do they want their offensive linemen doing that will make them successful, and they need to be praising it. So you build that culture of praising the things that you want more of. And another thing is, in terms of the, you know, to the extrinsic, intrinsic thing, one of the things that I've had a lot of success with in the places where I have been successful is you get what you praise, right? So if you focus all of your effort on the end result, right, and you're focused on the big plays and the scoreboard, you get people who start to chase those things, you know. Whereas the things that I really praised were the players and the coaches and the teams that I had success with were the inputs. So I'm praising attendance, I'm praising effort, I'm praising guys that don't give up when they take a little knock, you know. I don't mean like a concussion. Obviously, there are certain things that we want to be very conscious of, very careful of, and, you know, and be managed very effectively. But, you know, there's a difference between being hurt and being injured, and guys who show toughness, who are willing to do the dirty work, put in the hard yards. That's the stuff I praise, because if you praise that stuff, then you get more of it, and when you get more of it, then you build a successful team.
Can I just as a bit of a plea to the youth and junior coaches who are out there, if you have big athletic guys and you're playing them at wide receiver or running back or D-line or whatever, please start bringing up the possibility of O-line to them at as young an age as possible. So one of the things that we've had to do when we have like tryouts and stuff is really take people from like running back, from D-line, from the inevitable pool of tight ends who arrive at every trial, and tell them, look, you're coming over to be a wide receiver. And the biggest, I suppose, selling point we've got is like, you look at the amount of kids who are getting recruited to colleges at under 19 level. A study I've done with one of the like Podium and Europe's Elite and all that kind of stuff, and just asking them how many they get. 93% of all their recruited athletes are offensive linemen. So like the number one way for you to get a scholarship offer from an NCAA school is be an offensive lineman. I mean, if you're 6'6" and 300 pounds, that helps too. But, you know, like, please.
Gav's ruining my question. He's been watching for weeks. He already knows. The last question I always ask is, what's more important, hands or feet? Straight in there with feet. Done it straight away. I love how he beat us to my question. So the next thing that I want to go on to is, obviously, when we're talking about first steps and things also, is what can you give us a little breakdown of what the different steps are? So obviously, if you're going to be in a pass pro, so you might want to explain what pass pro is. If you want to explain what a run block is, the different steps, please, if that's possible.
Not if you want to be done in 25 minutes now.
Just give her a quick one, mate. Come on. Play the game, Nelly.
Oh, I mean,
If we're running the ball,
go on.
There we go.
If we're running the ball, go forward. If we're passing the ball, stay relatively still, but maybe go a wee bit backwards. Do that, we'll be golden.
I mean, you wanted a quick answer. You wanted a quick
Not that
answer. That was a quick answer. But the thing is, though, coming from a running back's perspective, that's what we get told the line is going to do. Basically, is when you are going to run the ball, they are going to move the people forward. When you're going to be passing and you're going to be helping them block, they're going to be taking a step backwards. So that is, I guess, that is your first steps, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess the way I would answer it, similarly to Spoonie, is, hey, when we're passing the ball, let's figure out which of those dudes are trying to get our quarterback and get in their way. And then when we're trying to run the ball, let's figure out which of those dudes are in the way and get and move them out of the way. And that's kind of, it doesn't necessarily tell you your first steps, but it's kind of like at the most basic level, that's what we do in run and pass.
I like it.
Absolutely. One of the things I tell our young guys, especially when we're starting out, is get yourself either run or pass. Get yourself between the bad guy and the ball. Like, we'll work out which specific bad guy it is in which specific situation, but you want to be between the bad guy and the ball. So when we're running the ball, you need to know where that ball is going in order to know where between the two things are. And when we're passing the ball, you need to know where your quarterback is in order to be able to be between the bad guy and the ball. So I think awareness of where the plays are going and where they're designed to go is really important. There you go, John Wise, as usual, just copying everything I say. You know what I mean? Not an original idea in his mind. Just straight off what I said. It's incredible. But no, that's the fundamentals. And I think the reason that's so important, like I say, is because you're teaching the players awareness of where is the ball going? What is this play designed to do? Where are you trying to attack on the field? Yeah.
And I think the fundamental thing with O-line is it's the only position that I'm aware of in any kind of ball sport where we don't see the ball, right? We're the only players anywhere that don't get to see what's going on. So we have to rely on the system to kind of help us. Like Spoonie said, we know where the run, we should know where the run is going, and that helps us figure out then who to go block because we can't actually see where the running back is. Right?
Yeah, I get that one. That's if you put it simply like that, that obviously is perfect answers, really, isn't it? Spoonie's had to drop out. He's getting a massive delay coming all the way from Scotland. They're not having good Wi-Fi at the minute.
Right. Is he going to get in his car and drive?
He's just going to go. Yeah, he's going to basically cross the border and then connect up the Wi-Fi again and then come back. Hopefully, that's why Nelly moved, isn't it, Nelly?
You bet Wi-Fi, yeah.
For the Wi-Fi, you moved for the Wi-Fi. Tash, you got your question?
I thought about it, but then actually it makes more sense to do something else that's then fundamental rather than jumping straight to the pancake.
Go for it.
What we'll do, we're not going to jump straight to pancake. What we'll do is we'll stick with fundamentals right now because obviously you've got your first steps, but one of the most important thing for alignment is obviously your hand placement. When you're coaching, and this has been obviously something that has been debated about where especially different people should be blocking and where their hand placements are, what would you coach? What would be your first coaching points to somebody when you're looking at hand placements and O-line blocking?
So I think the thing with this, and the same with the first steps question, is it is incredibly complex and varies massively depending on what you're trying to do.
Right, here's the situation, Nelly. I'll give you it. Right, I'm heads up over you, okay? You've got a running back coming straight up your backside towards us, right? You need to move me to your left. Where's your hands going?
Left hand low, right hand high.
So where's your left hand attacking?
The bottom left, or your left nipple. So basically, right. I want to be able to turn you rather than a torque rotational force is easier to move someone than a driving force. It just is. I can fight against two forces like that, or I can try and turn that force and then make it work. So it's just easier. So what I want two hands like that, according to the screen, I think. So I can pull with this hand, which is just as important as the pushing with this hand. And all of this only works if your hands are inside on the plate.
And if there's any it's not really a pull, right?
It's 100% a pull. It doesn't matter, because if the hands are inside, then the refs are never going to call it.
Every player's going to
That's
get
the most
flagged now,
important
Nelly. Nelly, you're getting flagged on every play, man. I get flagged every day anyways. Come on.
Everybody in BAFA now is going to be like just looking at the O-line like this every single time.
It happens on every play, but like, it's so your entire purpose is to try and like torque his upper body, because if you can torque his upper body and get him slightly off balance and raise his centre of gravity slightly, then he becomes easy to block. So like every percentage you move him is a percentage easier the block becomes. So you're not just going like force on force. You're trying to, you know, the other big thing is, don't ever try and hit someone with two hands at the same time. Please, you know, like go 1-1. It's like boxing, isn't it? You don't just throw both of them at the same time.
I do, mate.
You always throw one. It's Newcastle's head first, isn't it? Just straight in there. That's why me and Spoonie don't play football anymore. We had a fairly similar blocking technique.
Yeah.
Just head down.
We're going to talk specifically about CT.
Not today. Not today. That's next week, I think. No, but so when we're talking about hand placement, also, like, what should the gripping with authority, as Gav's just put? How should your grip with authority look? Like, what should you be doing with your hands? Is it facing out? Is it facing sideways? How are we doing it?
Go up, out, and then rotate slightly. So the reason you do that is, like, you look at that, like, your hand can't go anywhere at that point. So you're basically getting like 100% transfer of force from your arm through your wrist and up. That also means you don't end up with like lumps like that where you've broke your wrist because your hand wasn't fully set. And it's, if you look at anything to do with Charles Bentley, there is a whole load of reasons why that is the best position to be in, none of which I can remember right at this second, but there are a long list of them as to why that's the most effective position to be in.
Are you looking at... Sorry, Ad, I just want to say as well, with your thumbs as well, that's really important, isn't it? Where your thumbs are, because obviously if your thumbs are in, breaking and...
Yes. Many.
You want your thumbs out, obviously it keeps them out of, you know, getting caught. And as Nelly said, you're kind of striking with that part. That action of getting your thumbs out tends to pull your elbows in, and so now you've got it, the force is transferring up through your body and your elbow into what you're blocking. So...
See, this is the thing I was trying to mention
also,
there. Like, I think
one of the toughest things of coaching these days, Adam, is that being able, like, I always use the reference of the fawns. Do you know what I mean? Like, elbows in, thumbs out. Nobody knows who the fawns was anymore.
Yeah, on for youth today.
Reference, and basically 90% of my coaching is now completely redundant because the fawns isn't on TV anymore. So it is difficult, I would say. But yeah, I think that's exactly the other thing. Just back to Nelly's point, right? This is another useful thing for coaches who are watching. Is my boss at work talks about tell me what I need to know, not everything you know. Right? See, when you're coaching players, they don't need to know about the biomechanics of how to block. They need to know how to block. You know. So just concentrate on giving them the information they require. If they wanted to get a biomechanics lecture later on, obviously I won't be available for that, but someone else might. But yeah, just focus on what do they need to know to be successful, not what do you know. Because that's another thing we see a lot of is people learn something and it's like, I'm more interested in telling you how much stuff I know than I am about telling you what you need to know to be successful. You know, let's take the ego out of coaching and just teach them the stuff that's going to make them successful.
See, that's one of the things when we just mentioned where the thumb placement was and your hands coming outwards is that I want to talk about, because I was always taught growing up playing as a tiny offensive lineman that I should be thumbs up. That's what it was always taught to me. Oh, get your thumbs up and you're powering. And I literally that's my thumb now. Like that, it's not supposed to do that, but it got snapped, and it does that now. Looks it's a pretty cool party trick.
Is it bad that that's my thumb naturally?
Yeah, but no. Look, what honestly, look, it just goes fully. It's like when someone says to you, "What's a right angle?" It's that there, just that. That's what it is. But it's one of those things where I think coaches now need to really be drilled into that. These are trying to get your thumbs out. Do you know what I mean? I think that's like a big one now. So, Paul, how would you teach like a young guy this? Have you got any like little buzzwords? I did mention I love a buzzword.
Yeah, I just hold on a second.
Hello.
Get my tea. Look, hello.
Mine's
you
milk.
get tea
Mine's
for
milk,
it.
2 sugars. Milk, 2 sugars for me.
Timing's everything.
Service.
Yeah. So I think, just keep it simple. I think the kind of longer I've been coaching, the more I've realised, a bit like what we've just said, that players aren't going to remember, all the kind of words that we perhaps see at clinic. So just give them 3 bullet points. So it would be fingers under the breastplate, thumbs out, and elbows in. I mean, elbows pointing down, I would say, and that's pretty much it as far as hand placement goes. I think you want to, depending on what scheme you're running, you either want to just get the hands on there quick, or you want to, strike a blow, just depending on what you're doing. But beyond that, I just think 3 quick bullet points and away you go.
Love it.
Kind of newer one that's came up, like since I've really been coaching, is like your hands have got to be in front of your head as well. At the point of contact, don't just walk about with your hands like that. Like when you punch the guy, your hand should be in front of your head, so you're not leading with your head. There's going to be head contact. The point is to make it incidental rather than leading with your head. That's a kind of big one that happens because most people now, like, I don't know if I want to rip off one of your questions from earlier, but like the tip of the spear stuff, like it's like we'll take out all head contact. I don't think you can do that. I think you can make the contact incidental though.
I like that. You've totally ruined one of my last questions. Well, never mind, Nelly. I'll forgive you. It's all good, man. Don't worry about it.
You can still go back to it, and I'll still give the same answer.
Don't worry, mate. I will. Don't worry about that.
We're just trying to get in before Gav Collins. That's all we're doing.
Yeah. Gav's sitting there like, I'm gonna guess the next question. Bang! There it is. Done. I love it. So we had this question put to us. It's not a question that I would normally ask, but I'm gonna ask it because we had a put to it. Technique, and what would you do versus a slanting D line? I'll let anyone that fancies taking that question to have.
I mean, again, I think it's a very multifaceted question, but the less help you've got, the more under control you've got to be. I think if you're zone blocking and you've got help to the inside, you can be a lot more aggressive. But I mean, we wouldn't necessarily change massively what we're doing. If we're in a game and we know that they're slanting one way or the other, then perhaps we'd be a bit more under control. But generally, we're just going to just do whatever we do fundamentally and react to what we see as after the snap. So I don't think it's anything we'd spend a lot of time thinking about. We'd watch a bit of film and then that'll be it.
Yeah, I think
the same for everyone.
That can be an interesting concern I have with that is that. Sorry, just because I've got, just for anybody who's watching, I've got a horrendous delay, which is why I logged off and logged back on again. I've still got exactly the same delay as I had before because the internet up here is just wet string, really, that the digits travel along. So unfortunately, it's a bit slow to get to England. But yeah, I think the concern I have with the question, I mean, there's 2 concerns I have with the question. One is that it came from Andrew Morgan, which is always a red flag for me. And the other one is that it suggests a certain level of passiveness in offensive line play, whereby I'm reacting as an offensive lineman to what the defensive lineman is doing. And I think you need to make sure that you're encouraging your offensive lineman and training your offensive lineman to be the aggressor, particularly if we're running the football. I'm not hanging about in my stance to wait and find out which way that guy goes. Me and JB Wells had some chats about this a few summers ago, actually, about a concept he talked about that he picked up at a clinic somewhere called first meaningful contact, and I think it was particularly to do with pass pro, but I kind of use that a lot in reference to all of my offensive line stuff, which is I want to be the guy that's making the first meaningful contact when we're head to head in any situation, So I'm the guy who is kind of dictating the tempo, I'm dictating the movement, I'm setting the kind of expression on the line. So I think with regards to this, it's useful to know that they're a team that do that a lot, because it potentially lets you know if there are any weaknesses in your own game that you need to work upon, or any changes you might need to make to your own footwork in a given situation. But the reality is, me and Nelly particularly were famed for our pace off the ball, and so we were blowing dudes off the ball before. Like, it doesn't matter if they're slanting; they're probably going to be on their back before they've even moved. If it's me and Nelly against them, that was the reality of playing against us.
Those first 3 yards, I reckon Usain Bolt. After that, give him his due, he's probably faster than us. But those first 3 yards, man, I reckon means Spoonie Adam.
I should kick you off the call for even saying that. I should.
Back up, mate.
I love your confidence, but I can guarantee you were not quicker. But I like how you thought you were. I enjoy that.
Yeah. The only problem with letting Spoonie talk first is he ends up rambling on and just making the point that you were going to make in amongst everything else, right? So all I was going to say is, if we're going against someone who's slanting, all we want to do is try and figure out a key as to where, so we know which way they're slanting, and make sure that we're just communicating across the line so we all know what's coming and we can work, whether it's combo blocks or whatever the scheme is, to figure, and just take advantage of it. Which is what Spoonie said.
You just managed to shorten it. That's what you need, concise answers. We are going to get onto pancaking now. Bit of backstory. Me and Adam had a conversation before you guys joined the call, and it's because I saw what is a pancake, and I was like, hold on. I am a very avid listener of that Peter Crouch podcast. Obviously one of our many, many rivals, of course, definitely not bigger than us. And on there recently, they have been talking about pancaking in the football term. And so I was thinking, what do you mean O-line pancaking? That's when somebody's literally bolting it like as quick as possible. They're literally pancake. Adam was like, what are you on about? No, a pancake is this show we doing. I was like, oh, a pancake. So this is where I want you guys, away from the people who watch soccer, to allow them to understand what is an American football pancake.
A nutritious breakfast
that many people eat.
For me, it's if you just knock someone on the back.
Yeah.
I mean, however you get it done. I mean, ideally you're like accidentally land on top of them as well, but beyond that, that's really what it is. Sometimes you hit these DBs and they fly 8 yards, so you don't need to land on them.
That's what people love, though, isn't it? That's like when you watch an O-line person playing, you want to see them pancake somebody, because it's one of those moments where you go, oh, because it's normally one of those big hits, especially if it's somebody who's on the D-line that like matching up and they've been going at it all day, and then that O-line person just goes, no. It's like, yeah, that's what you want to see, isn't it? It's those big hits.
Yeah, I think like Spoonie talked about, kind of developing a culture in the O-line group. You want to have a culture of finishing every block, right? And just whether it's a run block or a pass block, a screen or whatever type of play, we want to finish. Always want to be finishing the block, and then ideally, in a perfect world, finishing it with a pancake where they're on the floor.
So when you're talking about pancakes and things, right? What I'm just queuing you up here for like the perfect play call to guarantee at least one pancake. What would that be?
One tick trap.
There it is. Yes, it's a trap.
Love
it.
I think, yeah. Anywhere where you're pulling a lineman and he gets a run up, that's what I'd say.
Yeah,
basically,
if you can get one of them big guys moving and just absolutely crack someone, it's just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
I mean, God's own run play, power. Everyone loves a power. Oh, Gav coming in with a counter play. Oh,
yeah.
You've got to love a counter.
Yeah.
Trap for me. I love just the face. When you see the guy and he goes, I haven't been blocked. Oh, no. That, for me, I love it. Absolutely love it. So I'm happy we got to get a bit of a Star Wars reference in there. So, next question that we're going to go on, it's a trap if you don't know it.
I've never even thought about it, sorry.
Did you know? Oh, mate, I've got a t-shirt. I'm going to get you. Coming soon on BRITBALLIN. We're going to have t-shirts, Star Wars. It's a trap. Lineman players. Look. Check it out, EP Sports. So, next question. One of the last few. We've got a couple of questions left, so we'll try and rattle through these because I know Line of Duty starts and everyone doesn't want to watch us anymore. So that's literally what happens. Watch, the viewers will disappear.
We wouldn't want the 7 current viewers to be missing out on Line of Duty. It's a good show.
We've got a few people watching now. Thank you. It's pretty cool. And the 6 people that'll watch it back. So, tip of the spear. Is that the technique to teach people, or is it something else? And if it's something else, what is it?
There's 2 parts to it, right? Tip of the spear for your hands, because that is all tip of the spear is. Tip of the spear is a hand placement system where they've added on the rest of the stuff. So for your hand stuff, tip of the spear. For everything else, Charles Bentley, O-line performance. From your stance, from everything, yeah, sadly he's not paying me to plug him, but like, the thing is you can't argue with it because there's a biomechanical reason for why he's doing that. And he explains it in all the books and all the videos and all the, the stuff he talks about. For me, he's the first person that's actually looked into offensive line play and why, and tried to answer the why. So yeah, I would, some sort of combination of the both, I think is probably the best way to go. But for the most part, I'd probably be 90% like Charles Bentley, 10% tip of the spear.
Like it. Spoonie, what about you?
I would say, as an offensive coach or as a coach of anything, right, the amount of time we have with our players is so limited. Even at the GB, it's even worse theoretically because you've got these guys for such a short period of time. A lot of it is about what can these guys already do, and how can I take the things that they can already do and make them successful using those, and obviously, add some bits and pieces that are as unintrusive to their existing technique and capability and as effective in terms of delivery. Now, if you've got a player who's coming in for the very first time, right, like a 13-year-old kid, and he's going to be an offensive lineman because he's got the size, the frame that you'd be looking for, or he's expressed an interest in that, then I think you can be like, I'm going to crack out this, fresh-looking document and go page by page about installing every single aspect of this blocking technique. None of us really ever get that luxury, Most of us you're working with what you've got in limited time. And that's why I think having a good understanding of different schemes and different techniques is so important, because it means that you can take what they're already doing, apply a little bit of rigor to it and make them better at doing that. I was reading a thing about an offensive line coach, and this is about a year or so back, and he was talking about how he'd been teaching all these things for years because that was kind of the way coaching is. And we see it in this country too, where it's like, I was taught something, so I teach it, and my guys will teach it. So rather than actually stopping to think why we're doing it and is it really the best way. And he said that with a lot of his guys, he found that actually when he watched them on video, the most successful guys weren't doing the things the way that he was teaching them to do it. They had their own ways of doing things that were suitable to their biomechanics, suitable to their level of capability. So I think, trying to incorporate that as well, make them good at what they already do. And, if there's nothing, assuming there's nothing in there that's dangerous or, likely to cause them injury, then, just try and refine those using the knowledge you have from the various schemes that already exist.
Okay.
I like that.
Last question. And this is going to be the last one. As we said, Line of Duty has just started, so things are going to drop rapidly. So single word answer, and we'll go around. We'll go Paul, Spoonie, Nelly, and then Coops. So it is the big one, and it's the most important. Hands or feet?
Feet.
Spoonie has got the whiteboard out.
Nelly?
Definitely feet.
Yeah, definitely feet.
So, all feet. All feet. Incredible. I think that's how we should just end it. There we go. That's the final credits. Just done.
Yeah, pretty much. I just want to say a massive thank you for you all joining me tonight. Taking an hour out of your time to come and talk roundtable with us. So really appreciate it. Thanks very much.
No problem.
And for everyone else just watching, BAFCA's just posted up about the coaching convention this year, so I'm allowed to talk about it now. It is going to be a virtual convention, and it is in partnership with yours truly at BRITBALLIN. So go check it out. The post's up there, and we hope to see you all soon. Thanks very much for tuning in. Take care, guys.